Hi, hello, welcome to or back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a January and February wrap up. I decided to put the 2 months together just because I didn't read that much in January. Same with February. I read 7 books in the first 2 months of the year, which isn't the worst considering like my health and stuff, so I'm glad I've got through 7 books and a lot of them went really well, so I'm excited to talk to you guys about the books that I read. Give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into it. Started off the year with a bang and I read Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. This was a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. I just loved how Brynne Weaver decided to make like a dark rom-com. Like, I haven't really read anything like that before, and I think she did a brilliant job at mixing the 2 genres. This book was absolutely hilarious whilst also being really dark. This is where I'm bad at these videos. I'm terrible at explaining what books are about. I'm sorry guys, but I'm going to try my best. Bear with me, I haven't done a wrap up in a hot minute. This is about Sloane and Rowan. Sloane and Rowan are rival murderers. They're always in competition with each other. They kill bad people basically. They set up this game where they have to catch like a certain murderer, and whoever wins it, they win the game, I guess. Whilst they're doing this game and they're meeting up with each other, I think they meet up like every year to do like this game with each other and this competition to like see who's the better murderer, I guess. They start to develop a real friendship, and then that obviously develops into more. But I think this was so fun because you've got these 2 characters that are competing with each other. They both are very similar in the aspect that they want to get rid of bad people in the world. They connect because there's no one like them. They have the same passion, which is murdering, but it makes up a super fun romance. I really enjoyed how, even though this was dark, it was still funny and it was still romantic. There was a part where, this is gonna make me sound crazy, but there were a part where Rowan started like watching Sloane through her window and getting this little boy to deliver ingredients, because Rowan is a chef, which I love a chef in a book. Got him to deliver ingredients to Sloane's door, and then he would tell her how to cook it over the phone, but she didn't know that he was watching her through her window cooking the food whilst on the phone with her, which I just love that. I found it so cute. And obviously in real life I wouldn't find that cute, but I think the calls that they had and things, they were adorable. I don't know, maybe not in real life, but I really ate it up in the book. If you want a book that's going to make you giggle, it was actually so funny. Like, this had me laughing out loud, which not many books can do that. I'm reading some of my things in my book, by the way, my journal. I loved the romance between the main characters. The fact they were both serial killers, yet they were so sweet together. Literally, they had such like wholesome moments together. Meanwhile, they're killing people. I don't know how it worked, but it did. I wrote, why was I swooning at him stood watching her cook through a window? Literally. Stalker vibes, like, why am I swooning? I loved the plot so much, them trying to one up each other in murdering. It was so entertaining. Their banter was everything and their teasing so good. We need more dark rom-coms. I didn't know rom-com and murder could go together, but it did. I loved how sweet and charismatic Rowan was, and I loved how badass Sloane was. The restaurant at the end, so bloody cute. Also the fact that Rowan assigned a table for Sloane in his restaurant, he was so romantic. I ate it up. Obviously the romance was amazing, but I also just absolutely loved the plot. Literally, I didn't give it a 5-star because it didn't feel like a 5-star, but this was an incredible book and I highly recommend, and I cannot wait to continue this series. My favourite, Redeeming 6 by Chloe Walsh. I can't believe I haven't read Redeeming 6 yet. I cannot wait to get into that, but I want to do it when I know I can binge it. Guys, this series just has my heart and I cannot wait to like get up to date with it. I think I prefer this one to the couple in the first book. I found Joey's character one of the most interesting and complex characters I've ever read about, and I just found reading his story so interesting. Like, I literally could not put this book down because I just wanted to see it through to the end, see how this book was going to end, see where Joey was going to end up. Obviously this is not the end of his story, there is a second book which I am just so excited to get into. Before I go on my reasons why I love this book, this was obviously a 5-star, guys. Like, I think this whole series is going to be a 5-star, and honestly, just because of how deep it is, how much it impacts me personally, how much I feel towards these characters. Like, it is a 6-star series for me. This one is about Joey and Ao. Basically, Joey is the brother of Shannon in the first book. They have a very bad home life. His dad is very abusive towards his mum and him. He ends up turning to drugs and alcohol, and this book is about his journey going through that and going through substance abuse and figuring out how to come out on the other side, which is just a beautiful and tragic story in itself. It's about Joey and how he really steps up to be the father of all these kids that his parents had, and how much that takes a toll on him mentally. He ends up meeting Aof, who is so sweet. She's such a sweet girl, and he's completely infatuated with her. Like, he really, really likes her, but he feels like he doesn't deserve her. And throughout this whole book, he's constantly combating that, and combating the feelings that he feels towards Aof. But he has so much self-hatred that he feels like he doesn't deserve a girl like her. But Aof wants him and him only, and she's constantly pushing him to be a better version of himself. And I just think the relationship between these two characters is just so beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've ever read. I keep saying beautiful, but it's like the only word I can think of. They truly have my heart, and I think they are just meant for each other, and I loved them so much. And I just loved Joey's journey in this book. I loved how Aof really brought out a better side to Joey. Showed Joey that he can have her, like, he is worth it. Showed Joey that he's worth more than what his parents have made him subject to believe. Showed Joey that there's another side to life. He can have a good time, he can have a relationship. In this relationship, they combat a lot of problems together because of Joey and his family and things like that, but Aof never leaves his side. Like, Aof is constantly at his beck and call. She's so understanding and amazing towards Joey and everything he goes through, and I just think she's such an incredible character. Same with Joey. I think Joey is so unbelievably strong and amazing, and I cannot wait to see him have his happy ending, because he truly deserves it. This man has literally stepped up for his whole family, took on that whole burden. You won't say it's a burden, but it is, because he cannot live his life. He is working to provide for a big family, and he's only, I think he's like 18 in this book. Like, he's so young, and he's been providing for his family since he was like 14, I think. Like, truly such an incredible man, and I just think the way he is towards Aof is beautiful. Despite everything that he goes through, he's still such a good, like, he has his moments obviously because he's got an addiction, but he's still always so good to Aof. I could talk about this book forever, guys. Like, I really could. Look at my review, it still goes on. Like, I wrote so much about this book. I just think it were incredible, and this is a slow burn as well, which I loved. I also loved, like, their relationship because they really felt like best friends, which I love that. I love when a couple really, they don't just feel like they're there for, you know, like, I love smut as much as the next person, but I think the reason why I love this series so much is you can really feel the love between the characters. That I Don't Love Yous and I'll Be Seeing You Malloy, so flipping cute. Their development was everything. I loved how Aof never gave up on Joey, even when he was giving up on himself. The times when Aof had to help him through his drug addiction, so heartbreaking. I loved seeing Joey finally put his trust in another person. It was so beautiful to read. When he finally let her in, I felt so proud of him, because I know how hard that was for him. Aof, she never pushed Joey and respected his boundaries despite the anger and fear she felt. Joey's addiction storyline was so hard to read about. That is one thing I'll say, defo check trigger warnings for this, guys, because the addiction storyline in here, it is very raw, it is very real and vivid, so just bear that in mind. Like, it is a very difficult read. The love Joey has for his mother is heartbreaking. I felt so angry at how his mum would compare Joey and his father. Yes, like, that made me have a completely different view on Joey's mum. How can you compare them two? Like, how? It made me so angry. Joey's nothing like that man, and because his mum is constantly comparing them and things, it makes Joey believe that he's this bad person when he's not a bad person at all. Like, I wish she'd just show some gratitude for everything Joey has done for her. I get that she's going through a lot, obviously, but don't treat your kid like that, you know? Like, he's done so much for you and you just have no gratitude towards him at all. I can sympathise with her, obviously, because of what she's gone through, but I just think there was no need for the way she was treating Joey. Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I thought I'd get my heart back because any chance to show this off, because it's a special edition. But I love this sequel. I think it was a phenomenal sequel. Want to know what Powerless is about, which is the first book in this series? It is about Paden Grey, and basically in this world, ordinaries are banished, and there's this thing called the Enforcer. Kai is the Enforcer. So basically Kai is the person that kills ordinaries, sends them to be banished, because in this world it has been told that ordinaries are diseased, they're bad, which they're not, but in this world they are not allowed to be in this world. So basically Kai is the Enforcer, he will kill these people. Paden ends up saving Kai, and then Kai's dad, the king, decides to bring Paydon in for the trials. There is trials every single year in this world. I can't remember what they're called, but basically they have to do all these games and someone comes out on top. It's very, very dangerous, but she ends up going to the castle where Kai is and the other participants in this competition, and that's where Kai and Paydon finally, like, start to build a connection. But little does Kai know, Paydon is the very thing that he has been brought up to kill. So what does he do when he starts falling for an ordinary? I love this book so much. I love this series so much. It is one of my favourites. I think the world is incredible. I think the characters are incredible. And I just love the romance. The romance, I ate it up. Like, it was so amazing. I think the tension, the fact that these books have no smut in them, yet they have so much tension, so much yearning, so much angst, everything. It is everything, guys. Like, you need to read this series if you haven't. I'm sure you have because everyone's read it, like, but if you haven't, please read it. Like, I promise it is worth the hype. It is amazing. I uploaded a vlog where I like really went into depth with my thoughts. If you want to see that, it was my first reading vlog of the year. The cat and mouse in here was so good. The enemies, like, I love the fact that they went from strangers to friends to lovers to enemies. Like, so good. I love these two because they have so much betrayal between them and angst, and I just love angst. And Paydon is one of my all-time favourite characters, as I always say, just because the fact that she's an ordinary yet she's more powerful than most people, and she's built herself up to be this powerful character. I just think she's incredible. I love her. And Kai, the things he says, like, he's a man after my own heart. He's one of my favourite book boyfriends. And yeah, I just love this story so much, and I cannot wait for the finale, but I'm scared. I hope it ends really well. This just hits different because of the fact that they are trying to kill each other, but they can't because they love each other. The tension was so good in the scenes when they was fighting. I ate up the heartbreak. I love a book that can pull out so many emotions in me, and Lauren Roberts gets me every time. The way she writes about love just hits the heart for me. One minute I'm giggling, the next minute I feel like my heart has been stabbed. I love how they kept saying pretend in here, but as a reader we know how in denial they are. It makes it so exciting to read because as the reader you know when they are pretending. They are acting the way they wish they could if their romance wasn't forbidden. These books also made me realise that I love a forbidden romance, so if you have any recommendations, please let me know. I want more forbidden romances. I love how broken both these characters are, and when they come together they are so beautiful. And one thing I really enjoyed in this story as well is reading about Kai and his complexities with what he has been brought up to do. He has been brought up to kill ordinaries, but obviously Paydon is an ordinary, and seeing him combat that in his mind, seeing him combat like how he's been brought up, him like realizing like how wrong his dad was, I think is so heartbreaking. Like, I think Kai's storyline in here is just so sad, and I love him so much. I want him to come out on the other side. Please go read this series. It's a 6-star series for me, and I rated this one 5 stars. Next I read, which were also in my series reading vlog, Legendary and Finale by Stephanie Garber. This one I rated 3.75. I think this series is amazing. I think it's such a good series. I can understand why so many people rate it really highly, but as I said in my reading vlog, I think because I read Once Upon a Broken Heart before this just doesn't hit the same. I think that's the reason why I haven't rated them, like, I haven't rated them low, but I haven't rated them like 4 and above, apart from the last one, which we'll get to that in a minute. I do think it's fun. It's got a fun plotline. It's very adventurous. The world is just so insanely creative and imaginative. Stephanie, I just love her, and I cannot wait to see what she does in the future, because her mind, I don't know how she comes up with these things, but she is amazing. Caraval is about these two sisters, Tella and Scarlet. They both have a pretty difficult home life. Scarlet in particular has been obsessed with Caraval. In this world there is this thing called Caraval that Legendary hosts, which is a character in this series, and basically it's where people go to this world of Caraval. It's super magical, super creative, and whoever wins these games that Legend hosts gets one wish. But Scarlet has wrote to Legendary for years and years asking to come see Caraval because she is obsessed with it. She's obsessed with the world of it, and she just wants to be a part of it. But eventually Legend does write back to Scarlet and invites her to the world of Caraval, and it goes from there. We see Scarlet go through Caraval, and when she gets there she realises that her sister is a part of the Caraval, and she's got to try and find her sister, and that is her game. But as she gets into the game she realises that not everything is real, and it's very much a combat between like what's real, what's not, what's imaginary, what's magic. And I think that's what's so fun about this series, is when you're reading it you don't know if what you're reading is actually real or not, and I think that's very, very fun. It makes it a very, very fun plotline. I just think it's super fun and magical. I don't have a ton to say about the series. I said like most of my thoughts in my reading vlog, but I would definitely recommend it, especially if you want just a fun time. Last one was Finale, which I gave 4 stars. I enjoyed this one the most because I think the plot in here intrigued me the most. It was the most compelling to me. Out of all 3, I think this is the one that I read the quickest because I couldn't put it down. I found it really, really intriguing. I just loved the plot in here with the gods. Like, I think they were so interesting. Not the gods, sorry. The fates, not the gods. I just loved where the characters ended up. I love the fact that they sort of came together in here. We got both sisters' point of view. I love both the sisters. I think Teller is definitely my favourite though. I also love the storyline of Legend throughout all these books. I think his storyline is so interesting. I keep saying interesting, I'm so bad at talking sometimes. Where he goes, like from the first book to the last book, I think is amazing, and the trajectory that his journey throughout the books is amazing, and I really, really enjoyed that. I think Legend and Teller were definitely the reason why I kept reading. I also loved the angst in here. I think the reason why this one was also a favourite for me is it felt a lot more romance heavy than the first 2, whilst also being very plot heavy. Whereas I feel like in the first 2 the romance very much took the back seat for me, whereas in this one it felt more focused on that. And I also think I enjoyed it more in here, the romance, because it was a lot more angsty, and as we've established, Courtney loves a bit of angst. It just gets me every damn time, you know. I really, really liked that series, and I have completed it now. There is a novella, but it's a Christmas novella, so I'm probably not going to read that until December. So happy that I'm caught up with Stephanie, because she is, even though this wasn't a 5-star series for me, Once Upon a Broken Heart was, and she is one of my favourite authors. Like, I will read everything this woman brings out, honestly. She is incredible. This was a bit disappointing. I did have a special edition of this, but I've sold it because I didn't enjoy it, and I thought, well, I didn't not enjoy it, but it wasn't a favourite, and that is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This disappointed me, guys. I gave it 3.5, so it wasn't like the worst, but it wasn't the best. I thought we were gonna love this. I literally ordered the Illumicrate special edition because I was like, oh, this is gonna be a 5-star. It's Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali. It wasn't, sadly. It just did not do it for me. This is about Lucas and Scarlett, and basically Lucas is a competitive swimmer, Scarlett is a competitive diver, and they are in the same college. I think it's college. Scarlett had an injury, and throughout this whole book she's got this journey with that injury and trying to get back out there and do this certain dive throughout this whole book that she can't do since having this injury. One day these two are out with Lucas's ex-girlfriend, which we'll get to that. I do not like the ex-girlfriend. Are out with the ex-girlfriend, and she suggests that these two should set up this arrangement because they're both into the same things when it comes to sex. So they set up this arrangement where they're just gonna have sex with each other because they like the same things, but it quickly turns into more than that. I feel like I'm really bad at explaining that, guys, but basically it's a BDSM romance. I'm gonna read my review. There was things I absolutely loved about this book and things I didn't. My main problem with this was Pen. I hate the whole X in the story trope. It just doesn't work for me. If she wasn't in the story, I would have loved this more. Pen pushed so many boundaries I personally didn't like, and I hated how she felt like she owned Lucas. It made it hard to love the books of her, which is annoying, because I genuinely loved Lucas and Scarlett and thought they had amazing chemistry. I loved how, as we got deeper into the story, the smut became a lot deeper and romantic. I do wish we got more normal scenes between them. The BDSM was a big part of the story, which I did enjoy, that between them, and seeing them explore each other and figuring each other out was fun, but I would have loved to see more cute moments between them. More dates outside of the bedroom, you know? I really loved how they could both be themselves around each other. That was super sweet. The banter was amazing in parts, but then in other parts it didn't work for me. I feel very conflicted on this romance haul. Sadly, as I got closer to the end, I just lost interest in the story. The book to me felt like it was focused more on Scarlett's diving injury rather than the romance, which isn't a problem, but it wasn't what I was expecting. A lot of the diving moments and diving talk just went straight over my head. I just didn't find it that interesting. But again, there was parts of her storyline I really liked with the diving, but it felt very slow for me in parts. There was a lot of side characters in here, and I just kept forgetting who they were all because I wasn't interested enough to remember. I can see why people do love this story though, because the way Lucas and Scarlett come to understand one another, the way Lucas speaks about Scarlett was beautiful, but sadly there was just so many things I didn't enjoy, which is why I gave it a 3.5. I feel like that's pretty much sums up all my thoughts. Pen just really ruined this story for me, sadly, and I just wish she wasn't there. Or if she was there, she just wasn't an ex, because I feel like the friendship between Pen and Scarlett was really sweet, and seeing Scarlett finally have a good female friendship was really sweet. Then it just got ruined because of Luca and the fact that Lucas is her ex, so that was a little bit annoying. But yeah, not a favourite for me. I still love Ali though, and I can't wait to read her other books. We have The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This has been on my TBR for so long. This is going to be in a reading vlog, so I'm not going to say too much just because the reading vlog isn't out yet. This is about Leon and Tiffy. Tiffy is looking for a place to live, which comes across this ad about this flat share arrangement where she would have the flat at a certain time and he would have the flat at a certain time, but they would never cross paths because they have completely different schedules. He's a doctor, he works nights, she's a journalist, she works at a magazine company, I think, cannot fully remember, but she does a daytime job basically. So they have this flat, share a bed, but they never actually meet, which sounds like such a fun plot, but this just didn't work for me. I gave it 3 stars, so again, it's not the worst. I still had a good time, but it's not a favourite. It's just very middle of the road for me. This book was fun, but nothing special to me. My main problem with this as well was the writing. It felt like I was reading a list sometimes. Like, let me try and show you. I did mention this in my vlog. You can see here, like, it says, Richie, where is she now? Me, shower. Richie, and where are you? Me, hiding in the bedroom. Like, it's like a list, like a script. Didn't really vibe with that. It really took me out of the story a little bit. I also felt like with the couple in here, there was no build up. Like, they were writing each other notes, which I really enjoyed that part. Like them writing little post-it notes to each other in the apartment and leaving them on the furniture so they could read them. That was super cute. But they were writing all these notes. They didn't really know each other that well. They'd never seen each other face to face. Then they met and suddenly they were in love. There was no build up. Like, suddenly they liked each other. They had so much tension between them. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel the chemistry. I didn't feel the tension. Didn't feel anything between them. I didn't find it believable, to be honest, because there was no build up. They just met and suddenly they liked each other. And I need a build up. Not always, but in here I needed a build up. It just did not work at all for me. Some things I did enjoy in this story was the subplots. Yeah, there was some really cute subplots in here. I loved Holly's character in here. She really stood out to me. She was so sweet. One thing I'll say, I think Beth handled Tiffy's emotional abuse storyline beautifully, and I really enjoyed seeing her overcome her trauma and seeing her come out of the other side. I felt like it was really beautifully done. I also think the way Leon's character handled what Tiffy went through was amazing. I loved Leon's brother in here. His plot was super interesting. I feel I actually enjoyed the side plots more than the romance. I think Leon and Tiffy were sweet, but I just didn't feel their chemistry. I do think they had a fun dynamic though, as she was outgoing, he was super awkward and shy, which made up for some great moments. Lastly, I did find Leon super relatable. He was anxious and hated change. So yeah, that's everything I wrote. I've just wasn't a favourite, but I'm glad I've read it. I'm glad it's off the TBR. I've read 2 3-star romances. Just want a good book, and I have started The Crimson Moth. I needed to switch up genres because romance just wasn't doing it for me, and I'm so glad I did because I'm loving The Crimson Moth so much. But obviously that will be in my wrap up of March, which hopefully we can just do 1 month in March. I'm feeling really good, guys. I'm loving reading again. It's so good. But yeah, so that is all the books I read in January and February. We had some amazing books, some middle of the road books, but it's been a good 2 months and I can't wait to keep reading. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your favourite book that you have read so far this year. I think my favourite is probably Saving Six, to be honest. I did love Reckless as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up, subscribe. I love you all and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.